Are you so overwhelmed that you don't even know why you're overwhelmed? Or are you overwhelmed to the point that you don't even know what's causing your overwhelm? Or are you just so overwhelmed that you can't pinpoint which area of your life that's causing your overwhelm you need to start with? This, I think, sweet anxious high achiever is not an uncommon issue for those of us that are high achievers and struggle with anxiety. But don't worry, because in today's episode, I'm going to talk with you a little bit about how to identify where in your life that overwhelm is coming from. Stay tuned.
Hey, are you a high achiever who struggles with perfectionism? Do you get stuck in the cycle of overthinking? Do you do everything for everyone else because you think otherwise it won't get done? Do you feel like you should come with a disclaimer? Hi, I'm anxious. Hey, I'm Katy. Full disclosure, I'm not a therapist, doctor, or mental health professional. I'm just a career mama who also struggles with anxiety. For me, anxiety reared its head at the most inconvenient times, when I wanted to be present with my family, at those high-pressure business meetings, when I was laying in bed awake at night worrying instead of sleeping. I just wanted to relax and be able to have fun, and I know that you do too. What if you found tools to manage your anxiety? What if you knew how to enjoy life even though you are anxious? Look, it's time to put down that third cup of coffee and swap it for some lemon water. We're going to get control over anxiety so it can stop controlling you. Let's go, girl.
Oh, sweet anxious high achiever, welcome. I'm so glad that you're joining me today. I hope that you're well. As of the recording of this episode, it is a beautiful summer day. I absolutely love kind of warm, humid weather, and it is warm and humid today. I went outside and I was journaling, and it was so humid that my paper was getting so wet it was almost hard to write. I love it. It feels so good. I feel like it makes my skin feel good, makes my mood good. I just love humid weather. Anyway, on to today's topic, sweet anxious high achiever. We're going to talk about overwhelm, and this is something that I know you struggle with. I know that because I get comments about it from you, and I know that those episodes where I talk about overwhelm tend to be really popular as well. So today we're going to talk about overwhelm. And I think that sometimes it can be really hard to identify where overwhelm is coming from, and that might just be because one thing has been overwhelming you for so long that you can't identify it or see it as the source of your overwhelm, or maybe so many things are overwhelming you, you just don't even know where to start. Recently, I had done a big project where I consolidated my clothes and shoes into fewer spaces. I had them kind of spread out throughout a couple of different locations, including like a dresser and multiple closets, and it was time for me to move some things around and change things up. And so what I ended up doing was getting rid of, throwing in the trash, a number of pieces of clothing, shoes, hangers, etc., things that just didn't serve me any longer, things that I liked but didn't fit me well, things that I liked but I didn't wear, things that I didn't like but had been holding on to, and out they went. I also donated a number of things that were in maybe perfect, good, or almost new condition that I felt like someone else could love. So I got rid of them. That helped me. It was a little bit easier to get rid of them that way when I felt like someone else might be able to benefit from them. And then I also changed it up so that I kept out things in my closet and dresser that were seasonal, so appropriate to the current season. And I put some other things away. So I did this in the summer, and I packed up sweaters that I wouldn't be wearing in the summer months that I'd pull out in the winter and put in a different location. And the result, dear friends, was just incredible. It felt really nice to go in and open my dresser drawers or look into my closet and be able to really easily see what I had and easily locate what I was looking for. The first day that I did this, I kept opening my closet just to look into it because it felt really good to see how organized and how clean it was, and that it wasn't just stuffed full of things that I had just because that's what I'd been doing. And this made me think about this whole project overwhelm. I think that before I had done it, I was overwhelmed by the sheer volume of choices I had in terms of clothes or shoes, and I was overwhelmed by how it was displayed, and I just hadn't taken the time to go through and kind of cull it or narrow it down to the things that I actually liked, that I actually wore, that I actually wanted to keep around and have available to me and have in my line of vision. And it felt so nice to be able to go and find what I wanted when I wanted it on demand, and just looking in my closet felt really good. So I was thinking about this and how it's so relevant to overwhelm, because truly it was overwhelm. I was overwhelmed by the volume of clothes that I had, how they were set up in my closet. It was just kind of full and hard to find. And I knew that there were things in there that I was purposely overlooking that I probably should have gotten rid of. And yet I would keep it there, and it would be there in the way as I was trying to get to the things that I actually wanted to wear. Then I was thinking about, okay, so where else in my life am I doing this? And I hope that you are thinking about this too, where in your life you might be doing this. And one other example that came to mind was there was a period of time where I realized I had bank accounts in multiple institutions. And that had happened just kind of naturally. Like, as I had different needs to bank at different places, I would add accounts, but I wasn't really closing accounts elsewhere. And finally, I got to the point where I'm thinking, okay, this is sort of annoying having to manage all of this, and it really isn't necessary. So I closed out the accounts that I didn't necessarily need, and it freed up mental space, energy, and time for me, not having to manage those multiple accounts in the multiple locations. So, all that being said, what I want you to do today, sweet, anxious, high achiever, if you are feeling like you are overwhelmed and you're maybe just not sure the source of your overwhelm, or you've got so many things overwhelming you that you just need to narrow down to maybe one that's maybe the most painful for you at this point in time, I want you to do an overwhelm audit. I want you to just sit down with a pen and paper and write out all of the areas of your life where you are currently feeling overwhelmed. And don't let this exercise itself overwhelm you. I did that recently. I journaled on it. I made it my journaling topic, and I sat down, and my mind instantly wanted to say, oh, let's go do something else. Oh, this is too much. Oh, this is overwhelming. Oh, where do I even start? But I made myself just sit with my pen and paper, and I told myself it's not going to be perfect, but you know it's going to help you. You know you're going to feel better when you're done. You can add to it later if you want to. It doesn't have to be perfect. This is just for you and your benefit. Let's just do this. And so I started writing, and I was thinking of areas of my life where I've experienced overwhelm. And I was thinking of maybe in terms of those physical things like actual clothing, shoes, etc. I was also thinking about thoughts. Now, this one I think is probably one of the most difficult or distracting. And so I started listing out areas of my mind management or thinking patterns where I was experiencing overwhelm. And when I was all done, kind of went back through and reviewed what I had had. And it was so amazing to see the various areas of my life where I have been allowing myself to become overwhelmed simply because, because, just simply because. And to be able to just identify it and see it and sit with it and not do anything with it also felt really freeing. So I know you, sweet, anxious, high achiever, you want to move on to the next step. You want me to tell you right now, okay, you've got this list, here's what you're going to do. But this is your assignment for today. And don't worry, I've got your back, because in the following episodes, we'll talk a little bit more about next steps. But this is step one for you. If you are so overwhelmed, you're not exactly sure where your overwhelm is coming from, or your maybe biggest or most painful sources of overwhelm, you're going to start with this overwhelm audit. And I just want you to sit down with pen and paper and write out the areas of your life where you're experiencing overwhelm. And there's no right or wrong answer here. There's no perfect. It's just simply doing it. So I want you to do that. And then I want you to come to my free Facebook group. If you're not already a member, the link to join is in the show notes. And I want you to come there, and I want you to tell us that you did this exercise. That's all I want to hear from you, that you just sat down and did it, because I want to be able to celebrate you and then support you. In the free Facebook group, there are incredible, amazing, wonderful, supportive, encouraging women that would love to have you join us. Again, the link to join is in the show notes. I can't wait to see you there. That's all I've got for you today, sweet anxious high achiever, and I can't wait to talk with you again next week. Take care.
Hey friend, thanks for being here. Did today's episode help you feel more in control of your anxiety? Did it inspire you to rest or relax? Or maybe it challenged you to really look at why anxiety is a part of your life? If so, I'd love to hear from you. If you would take 30 seconds, pause this episode, scroll down in Apple Podcasts, and leave me a review, I would be so grateful. See you next week. Disclaimer, I am not a medical professional and this podcast is not providing therapy or medical treatment. Contents of the podcast are for informational purposes only and are not a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always consult your healthcare provider with your health questions and concerns.